The problem with trying to heal neck pain is that it feels like nothing works. And you know it. You've tried everything. From physio, massage, chiro, you've watched videos on YouTube, you've meditated, you've breathed, you've done yoga and tai chi, everything short of sacrificing your firstborn to the neck pain gods, and still you're stuck in pain. I had chronic neck pain for the better part of 20 years, ever since I was a kid, and if I'd had a sibling to sacrifice, I would have. So what does work? The thing is that it's not that what you're doing doesn't work. It's just that you're doing it in the wrong order. There are 3 steps to healing chronic neck pain, or any chronic symptom, but you have to do those steps in the right order. And that's exactly what I'm going to walk you through in this video, so that you can stop wasting your time and finally find the relief that you're actually looking for. There is one preliminary to these 3 steps, and that is knowing what kind of neck pain you even have. So I go over that in detail in this video, so check that out if you're not sure what kind of pain you're dealing with. But if you already know what you've got, skip to this timestamp and we'll get straight into it. But let's give a quick overview in this video. So first, you've got structural pain. This is the kind of thing that you can point to on a scan and be like, this is the problem. So things like spinal fractures, injuries, torn muscles, even things like meningitis or disease, cancer. These are serious pathologies that need to be tested for, diagnosed, and treated ASAP. So if you haven't seen your GP, please do that first before you do anything else. The second kind of neck pain is biomechanical. Now you'll notice that I didn't include this in structural pain because I do think that there is a difference between damage and dysfunction. Biomechanical neck pain is the kind of thing that you really do want to see a physio or a rehab specialist for. Let's say you've been in an accident and you hurt your shoulder. Maybe your neck was completely fine, but as a result of the accident and the shoulder damage, you're now having some issues in your neck. A physio is going to be able to help you diagnose that, and through healing the shoulder, your neck will recover as well. Or let's say you've been working at a desk for 20 years straight and you've had a really old-fashioned setup. You know, maybe you're sitting at a laptop or your chair doesn't really support you, and over that time you develop some weird sort of compensation patterns and your body has like settled into this very strange way of sitting, and as a result of that you have long habits of holding yourself in this strange way. That can cause neck pain, absolutely. If there are muscles in your neck that are weak, if there are muscles that aren't functioning properly, again, this is the kind of thing that you go to a physio and they point to it and they go, do this exercise and it helps. I love that story. I want that story for everyone, but unfortunately that is not the story that we all get. Which leads us into the third type of neck pain. This is the kind of pain that isn't fixed by things like exercises and physio and rehab. It is persistent, but it also changes. It quite often moves around, and it's quite often, almost always, affected by context. So it will come up at work but go away on holiday, or it will spike when we're at family. This is the kind of pain that doesn't have that nice, neat explanation. And this kind of pain is neuroplastic pain, or it's also known as CNSS, central nervous system sensitization, or mind-body syndrome, whatever you want to call it. It's basically pain that is generated by the brain as a protective response. The brain is trying to protect you from, maybe it thinks you're injured when you're really not, or it's trying to protect you from something out there, more of like a chronic stress response. But either way, the pain is not coming from a structural issue. Now, having said that, this is where category 1 and category 2 get a little bit mixed up, because CNSS, or neuroplastic pain, can cause biomechanical issues, because the brain can get sort of so guarded that it actually will switch off muscles to try and avoid pain. So you can actually end up with biomechanical issues because of CNSS. But if the origin of the pain is CNSS or neuroplastic pain, I would encourage you to address that first, because quite often once you resolve the CNSS, you resolve what's going on in the brain and the chronic stress, you don't even need to see a physio, because your brain is a homeostasis machine. It wants to get back into balance. It wants to be healthy, happy, and pain-free. So once you understand what kind of pain you're dealing with, if you're dealing with the first type, structural pain, go get that sorted. This video is not for you. If you're dealing with biomechanical pain, You could benefit from CNSS tools, but I would recommend heavily focusing on your physio and your rehab, at least for a couple more months. Once you get to around that 3-month mark, then you can call it chronic, come back here. But if you're the kind of person who's been dealing with this pain for years, I will eat my hat if you don't have neuroplastic pain. And if that is the case, this is the video for you. Alrighty, so step 1, we're finally there. Step 1 is to understand your pain. And I feel like I've already kind of explained step 1. It's basically understanding that, okay, this pain is being generated by the brain. It is extremely real, but it is not being caused by structural damage. I am not broken. I am not needing to be fixed. That alone, really understanding that, even just on an intellectual level, knowing the basics of pain science, of how the brain generates pain, that all by itself can relieve so much pain because it helps us feel less afraid, feel less like we need to do something, we need to fix something. And it can reduce the fear and the panic significantly, which will reduce the pain because the pain is being driven by the brain's fear that something is wrong. Without this step, without that foundation of intellectual understanding, you can't move into step 2. Step 2 is, I would argue, the most important step for anyone with chronic pain, and it is the step that we all love to skip. We all love to say that we've done it, but we got to do it again and again and again. And that is to allow the pain to exist. I hate saying it, but this is what the work is. Early on in this journey, once you've figured out that the pain is not dangerous, then you've got to undo all the patterns of pushing against it, because you probably have been pushing against it for years. I pushed against my neck pain. I wanted to get rid of it, to solve it for a good decade plus before I figured out how to actually just let it be there. But once you do that, once you figure out how to just let it be, that also will relieve so much pain, because it further breaks down that loop of fear and stress and pushing against the pain, and that helps your brain calm down even further. One other thing about step 2 is this step is very much about safety. So not only is it about learning to sit with the pain, but it's learning to feel safe within the pain, diving into things like the 6 F's, which is something that I've talked about many times, changing our perspective from fear, frustration, and fighting to something that is more constructive and helpful for our minds and our bodies and our nervous systems. But wait, we aren't even finished yet. That's only step 1 and step 2. I think this is where some people get a bit like, oh, is that it? Do I just have to sit with this pain forever? No, that sucks. But it is the foundation for step 3. And step 3 is where we get into the nitty-gritty. This is where we get into the juice and the meat of this whole process. This is where we ask the big questions of, why did I feel like I needed to protect myself that strongly in the first place? Why did my body feel so protective? How did I get into this place? And how do I make sure that I don't get there again? Questions like, when did the pain begin? Just looking back and sort of examining the pain through the lens of okay, this is to do with my emotions. I now know this is no longer a structural thing, so we can take that off the table and look at it through the lens of emotions and safety. And once you do that, if you've never done that before, this can be really eye-opening, because you can look back on your past and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. The pain started when I started worrying about test scores, or when my parents got a divorce, or when I lost my first job, or whatever it is. You can sort of look back and see the story unfold. It's not always big. It doesn't always have to be this huge life event. Maybe you won't be able to remember the very first one. I honestly don't. I've had neck pain since I was in primary school. I have no idea what started it. Had a very happy, very peaceful childhood, but I didn't realize what was going on until I was in my mid-20s. So I had a long time to practice those habits. And in step 3, we start to unpractice those habits. We start to question the things that we have always believed, the assumptions that we have about life that just feel like truths because they have never gone unquestioned. This is where you get into things like self-worth, perfectionism, relationships and boundaries, expectations of yourself. And this is where long-term change can happen. I think that this is actually the beauty of having a chronic illness or chronic pain, is that it forces you to ask these questions. It forces you to examine these areas of your mind. And on the other side of that is a better life. If I hadn't had chronic neck pain, if I hadn't then also developed chronic full body eczema, I would never have been forced to ask these questions. I would never have had to confront these demons because there wouldn't have been a reason to. Sometimes we really need something loud to bang on our door to make us pay attention. So don't think of these 3 steps as step 1, 2, and 3 that you sort of move through linearly. Nope. Okay, that you move through sequentially. It's more like building a house. This is going to be a terrible metaphor. So step 1, the understanding. Let's call that your architectural design. It's your blueprint. It's the thing that gives you the reassurance that you're going to end up with a house. It's the intellectual understanding of the house. Step 2 is your foundation. Without that, everything else falls over. And step 3 is your walls, your roof, your couch, your kitchen, the cushions, the cutlery. It is varied and is different for everyone. Most houses have a pretty similar foundation, big slab of concrete, but everybody's frame and furniture and frou-frou is a little bit different. And that's going to be the same for you. The way that you build this house, the way that you discover this house is going to be different for you than it was for me, than it is for him or her. And that's okay. And that's why it's so hard to give a roadmap of like, do this, do that, do that, do that, and at the end you're pain-free. Because it is a self-discovery. But that's the beautiful thing, is that at the end of this, you do get a house. You get a house that is yours. A house that feels good, a house that you understand. This metaphor is getting a little stretched, but I still like it. This is where you get to have fun and explore what works for me, what doesn't work for me, who do I like to listen to, what resonates, what doesn't. This can be a very rewarding process, and it will be a lifelong one. You're never truly done decorating a house, right? Alrighty, now, with that being said, if you're still watching this and you don't actually know what kind of pain you have, good on you for watching all the way through, but that is a very important step. So watch this video to help you figure out that. Or if you've already got that down pat and you want to get stuck into step 2, we've got a somatic tracking video here, or the 6 F's video here. Or if you want to get stuck into step 3 and you want more personalized help, because like I said, this is a very personal journey with a lot of nuance, check out the description below because there are some links to learn more about getting help with me. But like I said, this is the kind of thing where you just need to experiment with what feels right to you, explore different channels, explore different teachers, explore different counselors, explore everything you possibly can. And if it feels good, it is good. All right, trust your intuition that you will know what is right for you at the right time. Alrighty, thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next video. Bye.